optical zones that controls less good. We have the plus power far away. So that's why today we modify our designs to have smaller optical zones in our lenses to create the red ring on topography. The red ring you see in the topography is relate the changes of plus on power, corneal power. So that red ring we see is the increases on the power on cornea that changes the peripheral refraction, pulling in front of retina. That is the signal that, in theory, slows down myopia. In theory, yeah. So we have several systems to fitting that kind of lenses. One is empirically. That's what we will do today in a workshop later. So we are using a trial set. We use the keratometry data, and then we choose the lens from the trial set, put on eye, see the fluorescein, and change the lens accordingly. Other systems are using topography maps and send that topography to the lab, and the lab will provide to you the lens. And other systems are using software to design yourself your lenses. So it could be very simple to very complex. It depends of the lens or design you are using. I want to jump over next slides because it's just fitting, and I will work more specifically on my workshop later. So people that are not interested, they are not necessary to stay here. But basically, how we fit. So how it works in my mind today, ortho-K, many people think that we are flattening by compression, but indeed, it's not that the way we are working. Indeed, our epithelial cells are able to keep more or less water and generate more tear layers or less cells layers where they are able to be. And it's because our lid, when it's blinking, is creating a change of the shape of the surface. Now we are placing a plastic device in between the lid and cornea, and then epithelial cells could fill the gap and could create the increase in mid-periphery. So the basic thing in fitting ortho-K lenses is the tear film layer. Tear film layer needs to be enough that central part of the lens don't touch the apical zone. We don't want that the back optical zone, the central zone of the lens, touches the epithelium. If that occurs, you will have staining. And if you have staining, that is a point of danger. It's a point where a disease could arise. You could have a microbial keratitis there. So you should avoid staining after wearing any kind of lenses. And ortho-K lenses is not by pressure that they work by hydrodynamic forces, and we need tear layer between the lens and the cornea. So the tear layer profile is basically the most important thing. So now we arrive to a section, if it's working, no working. Can you move the, yeah, thank you so much. So using a trial set is using the fluorescein patterns. Fluorescein is an art of the, more than a science, and we need to learn how to do. So I want to jump a little bit over some slides if that's working. We have two main tools. One tool is fluorescein that is easily reached because it's very cheap, the fluorescent strips, but very difficult to have topographers. Topographer is necessary to do ortho-K fitting. Without it, you don't control how you are doing the fitting. So topographer provides the K readings, of course, eccentricity, of course, the shape of the cornea, but mainly it provides how you are modifying your cornea where you're fit. And that's the more important thing, because when everything is running well, no problem. But when the things are bad, then we need something to help us to control. This is the Fitfighting process. That's the slides I will run a little bit there. But basically, we need to do enough topography to be sure that we have the data that is correct, then we need to calculate our lens, put the lens on eye, look at the fluorescent pattern, decide if the lens is correct. If it's not, we go to the trial set, we replace for a new one, and so on. Then we deliver the lens and try an overnight trial. So this is, I will explain more in the workshop, sorry. Then next day, the point is see the visual acuity, refraction, corneal health, and topography, and so on. One thing we do in every visit we have the patient is control how they put and take out the lens, how they clean the lens, because that is the most main issue, safety. We need to work very well in safety. So this is the schedule, and this is not working so slowly. So basically that's the way we do. We measure the topography, we decide the lens, we work with the lens with the fluorescent pattern, we check the lens after one night. If everything is okay, we continue. If it's not okay, we replace the lens. Then after 4 nights, we do again, after 10 nights, after 2 weeks, 3 months, and so on. Basically, the most important thing is the safety. So, if this is working, I will explain a little bit more about safety later, but this is how to perform fluorescent. This is useful for any kind of GP lenses you are using in your clinical basis. Basically, the first thing is avoid bubbles. To avoid bubbles, you need to insert the lens looking down with the lens total fill it up with fluid, okay? Like scleral lenses and so on. The second thing is wait for 2 or 3 minutes. If you don't wait enough, you will have fluorescent everywhere. You don't understand what you are looking at. You need to wait that the fluorescent is gone in the front part of the lens. Then you could check it. The yellow filter is the enhancer for vision. So if your slit lamp doesn't have yellow filter, put a yellow filter in front of your slit lamp to see better. Okay, this is like this, without filter, with filter, okay. Now, the second thing we need to do is pull the lids apart. If you look the fluorescent pattern with the blinking, it's very difficult to understand what is happening. It's good for movement, but it's not good for assess the overall size of the lens. So open the lids and look the lens centered there. The next thing is we need to evaluate the central zone of the lens that is touching or not touching the cornea, because if the lens is touching cornea, that will be a problem. Yeah, this zone. Yep. It's quite slowly. Okay. So lens from the left is you have some green color in the center. It's not touching apical zone. That is the correct fitting. On right side you have a touch that is not correct fitting. So you can see there is some staining there. Staining means problem. So the next thing you look is the ceiling zone. Ceiling zone is the final of the first reverse curve, this point of the lens. This should be aligned to the cornea. When you have that zone aligned to the cornea, so you can see not green there, so dark, then the lens is perfectly fit. If you have not proper alignment there, you will have not good treatment. So you need to align very well there. Flattening the periphery, making zone torics, and so on. There's more complex things to do there. But basically this is, okay, so ceiling zone is that point. Now, yeah. That's the pressure, negative, positive pressure on the lens. Okay. Next, the diameter. Total diameter is very important. You need to have a lens that covers 98% of the cornea. Yeah. So you can check the total diameter there. Okay. So this is the lens that is too big, lens too small. And then you have your fluorescent pattern, which lens is correct. So basically, insert the lens, put the fluorescent, wait for 3 minutes, use yellow filter, wait until no fluorescein in front part of the lens, then